as Dash of Dave. He'll take some scraps and bits of this, turn them into something you can't miss. Junk journals, tapes, and crafts galore. He'll have you begging, show me more. Oh, Dash of Dave, oh, what a sight. Mixing colors, day and night.
Hi everyone, it's Dash of Dave here again, and I'm back for another crafty video. So today is another one of our Sensational Six. So that is 6 videos that feature an object that I have enjoyed making in the last 6 years. So it's another one that I will be recreating, and today it's a Dennison box. So this is something that I came up with I made a little version of this for the Tracy labels. So I did it in kind of collaboration with Tracy. Well, no, actually, I think I did it and tagged Tracy, and then it kind of went a bit viral. But it's one of my most enjoyed. I really love boxes. I love making boxes. I like making one sheet wonders as well, because I think it's got the same vibe. It's that whole kind of taking something apart to understand how it was made, to put it back together again. And then also I like making them look old. So this is one I have recreated. Now I have looked for my original ones, but I've tidied up, well, not recently, but just after Christmas I had a bit of a big tidy up, and all of the things that I make I kind of put into a box, and I can't find that box, so I've tidied it away from myself. Another one of the things that I've tidied away from myself. So anyway, today we're going to make another one similar to this. This one was made out of one of the files that I have. Let me see if I can find one to show you what I mean. You know when you're trying to find something that you... Here, I've got a green version, so it was made out of one of these, and they've got these perforations in, but we're not going to make it out of that this time. We're going to make it out of some just craft card. So I'm going to make one out of craft card. We're going to make it so that the dimensions are 1.5. It's going to be 1.5 wide. It's going to be 4 long. So this one's 5. We're going to make it 4 long. This one actually, so this one measures 2. No, it doesn't, Dave. It measures 3. It measures 3 by 5 by 2. Okay, so the one we're going to make is going to be 1.5 by 4 by 2. Okay, so, and in order to do that, we will need 2 pieces of card. So you're either going to do it one or 2 ways. If you're making a box, if you have one of these scoreboards where it's made for making boxes, so it says here, and you're probably not going to be able to see this, it says measuring guide, and it says basically that this is the true, so this is the true measurement, and here it says box base, so this is a fraction smaller. It's like a 1/16 of an inch smaller to accommodate for the 2, because if you had 2 sizes exactly the same, they wouldn't slot into each other. So you're either going to do it making it on that, or you're going to do it where you make one of the panels just 1/8 of an inch smaller. Okay, so we're going to do it the 1/8 of an inch way, because I understand that not everybody has one of those scoreboards, and we're going to make it on this, which is just a smaller version of that. So what we want to do is we want to cut this to being 5.5 by 8. So it needs to be 5.5 by 8. Yep. So that'll be the 5.5 by 8 will be our base. So we'll do 5.5 do 8. And that's going to make our base, because this measurement is going to be 1/8 of an inch over 5.5. So that's what? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. 5 5/8. Okay, by 8 1/8. And then that will just give us that slight overhang. It means that this piece of card, you should see now, is fractionally bigger than that piece of card. And that means then this that is going to be our base will slot into the bigger half, which is going to be our lid. So because they're two different sizes, we will just need to note that what they are. So let me just get a pencil. So it needs to be a pencil so we can rub it out. So this is base and this is lid. Okay, so that's just so that we don't get confused. So then what we're going to do, pop it on our scoreboard, and we're going to get a scoring tool, and we are going to score it. So remember I said it was going to be 2 inches deep. So this measurement that you're going to do now is always the sides. So if you know that that's 2 inches, you don't need any other measurements. You just need to say that that's 2 inches. Turn it round, 2 inches. Turn it round, and it's always 2 inches. Turn it round, 2 inches. Okay, so that's how wide our box is going to be. So it's going to be a little, quite tall one for its size. So that's that. And we're going to do exactly the same with the lid. So remember, because this is exactly the same, because this is slightly bigger, we're going to do exactly the same measurements because that's all built into it. So 2. Actually, it should have been that way around. Let me just do it again. So 2. 2. Oh no, let's not go off on a tangent. 2 and 2. Okay, so we've got a slight line here where it kind of went off on itself. So I'm just going to rub that out. Cool. Okay, so let's make the base first because that's where we started at. So just going to put that to one side. So because we're making this as the base, we're going to cut off the raised bit, the ridge, from our score. So just bear with me while I try and see that in this light, up to that crosshair. Okay, same on this side. So you're cutting off the ridge because what you want is this panel at the end needs to be free of the ridge that you've just made from a score line. So we're cutting that off. Okay, so then we're going to cut a little notch out going diagonally to the corner, and that's all it needs to be. All it needs to be is that when you fold it in, it doesn't get in the way of the fold inside. Okay, and again on this side. Okay, and then again we're going to do exactly the same on this end, up to the crosshair, take that little bit out, feel it there, feel it, just can't get it, there you go, and just pinch that bit out, then do the same on this side, cut the ridge off, and then take that bit out. Okay, cool. So that's our base. Okay, and then this is our lid. Okay, so again what we want to do is we want to find that ridge and cut it off, just cut that little bit out. It doesn't need to be a very emphasized wedge. You're just literally cutting the raised bit from the score line off and then going diagonally to the middle. So this side. I can't see that line. Right, okay, I'm just going to have to put that back on my scoreboard because I can't see that line at all. So I'm just going to re-emphasize that line there at the bottom. There it is, I can see it now. So up to the crosshair and cut the ridge off. Going diagonally to the corner. Okay, so that's all our bits out. Okay, next thing you want to do is put in all your fold lines. And the ends. So what you'll find is that these flaps are longer than this bit, but it's all right, we're gonna cut them down shortly. I'm just gonna fold them all in first. I'm gonna do it on the other side as well, and then we'll cut them down, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do. Fold that down. I really, really, really love box making. In fact, I think it was Christina Hall once said to me that I should go into making props. I would love to do that. I'd love to make props. I like making things look vintage. So I like giving it the fake authenticity. You know, like you would pick it up, if you saw it somewhere, you'd pick it up and think it was old, even if it wasn't. And that's always been something I just really liked doing. Like adding the years of aging to it. Right, okay. So we've done that's the lid and this is the base. So we're just going to keep these two separately. So what I mean is when you put these on the end, they're going to overfold each other and stop the other sides from folding up. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut them down first enough so you're just going to take about half an inch off each side, sorry. So not the middle panel, just the ones either side. And then you're going to put them together, and then you're just going to cut down the middle of them while they're together. So that way then you know that they will meet in the middle because you cut them down the middle. So they'll meet in the middle without getting in the way of each other now. So slightly wonky off the end there. What's that side? And then you're going to do the same again. You're just going to keep that out of the way because that's your middle panel and you want that to be that size. And take about half an inch off there, half an inch off there, so just so they're enough to like sit in the middle. You're going to fold them both up so that they're nice and square, so they sit square, but you'll be able to tell they sit square because the top two edges will line up. Flip it over and then keep this panel out the way and then just go down the middle and cut the two together, and that means then they will both now sit together equally. Now they might not be exactly the same sizes, it doesn't matter, they're the inside of a box. And you're going to do exactly the same again. Remember, you keep those bits out of the way and it's just your flaps. So half an inch off, half an inch off, and you're only doing this because there isn't enough. So we know that this is only 1.5 inches wide, and we know that this panel is 2 inches in depth. So we know that they're not going to sit together. If they sat together, you wouldn't need to do this. So I'm going to do it the other way around so you can see what I'm doing. So just folded these two bits together. Yeah, we're just going to keep them there with my nail. So I'm just catching hold of it. It's not even catching hold of it very well, but there you go. And then we're just going to cut those two panels. No, don't let go of it just yet, Dave. I'm going to cut those two panels together. And then that way, then we know that those two meet in the middle. Remember, take that panel out of the way. We need to take ½ inch off the end, ½ inch off the end, sit the two together, get them straight at the edge here, and then roughly in the middle, all the way down, the two layers together, and then that will just mean that they sit together that way. So, cool. Okay, let's get rid of these bits of cardboard. Okay. So now these are ready for decorating. Now I would suggest that you put some colour on them now before you make them, and that just means that you then don't have to try and get in this join here. So I'm going to do that now. Now I'm going to go for something quite aged looking. So I'm going to go gather twigs. So we're going to go for gathered twigs, vintage photo, and ground espresso to give us that moody feeling. So what we so these are the panels. You're not going to see those, so don't worry about them. You just want to sit over the edge of any kind of creases or folds so that you don't see the clean bit inside. This panel you will see, so I'm going to colour that, and what I'm going to give it is just that kind of darker colour of, like it's been around a while. You know how craft boxes go, well, how craft card goes over time. That's what we're just going to recreate. So catching those lines nicely. So the darker colour, the ground espresso, is going to go more on the lines. So this is just filling the panels, obviously on the line as well. Don't worry about it looking patchy, because that's how things age. They don't age perfectly uniform. You'll want it to feel like it's been bleached by the sun. It's picked up a bit of dirt on one edge, so this side is a bit dirtier than the others, but that's fine. That's how things age. Okay. So once you put that colour on, we go to gathered twigs now. And I'm just going to come in to just tuck those bits away. I'm just going to come in around the edges a bit more. So all of the edges that would have caught the use over time. So lid. So just checking which one I was doing. So this is the base. So the base won't have a thumb notch out of it. It's the lid that's going to have a thumb notch out. So we don't have to worry about putting that in just yet. You want it to be just a couple of different colours, because that kind of helps it look a bit older looking. You can go for more colours, that's absolutely fine, but at least 2 just helps it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get the darker colour, just applying it to a different side, and we're just going to catch all of the edges that you're going to see. So obviously you're not going to see these panels, but you're going to see these edges. I say, this is the base. Now it doesn't usually get as dark as the lid, so we're going to make the lid darker because it's usually hidden inside and doesn't get quite as dark, but it will get darkness on edges and things where the pieces are repeatedly slotting in and out of each other. So we're just taking that as a very literal cue. And again, along the top edge, because corners are always the bits that hold the dirt on boxes and rooms and whatever, but they always hold the dirt. Now I know you're not going to see this, but if it does overhang ever so slightly on the edge, you just want to make sure it's got the same colour so it blends in. There isn't like a sudden shot of a lighter colour that you can see. So I'll just catch those just in case they hang out. Okay, and then we want to make sure that it goes around this panel as well, so don't stick your thumb in it, Dave, like you just did. Around these edges. Cool, so that's the base. We'll glue it together shortly. It's always better to just leave it a little bit so that it dries off a little bit. Sorry, I just want to put a little bit more on there. There we go, cool. So again, we are going to make it dark. We're going to have an extra colour on this one just to give it another dimension. So we're going to put some frayed burlap on it. So just because it's a little bit lighter than the scorched timber. Well, it is a lot lighter than the scorched timber, but we want to give it that more dirty kind of. It's been around a very dirty office kind of environment, or a dirty packing warehouse, or whatever we're planning for it. Like I say, don't worry about any kind of mottling that you don't like, because the multiple colours that you put on it will kind of disguise all of that. We've done that. Okay, let's go to gathered twigs. And you're just going to warm that burlap up now. So it's more of a muddy appearance on the top one, because that's the dust. So this is kind of coloured over time, and this one has coloured over time but also has picked up colour from fingers and dust, etc. So I think gathered twigs always kind of adds that right colour. It's a very organic. I mean, it's supposed to look like twigs, isn't it? So okay. Then we're going to go in with some vintage photo, and that again will also warm it up. There you go. Look, it looks much warmer now, but you can also still see the patchiness of it. And this is what I love. This is why I love doing this. I think this is one of the reasons why I really got into the utilitarian stuff is because it gives me that scope to make dark and moody stuff. So which bit is, I think that's the bit that's got my darker colour on. So again, I'm just going to go all the way around. So this time I'm just going to come in a little bit more rather than just on the edges, because this isn't going to have caught any dirt from sliding in and out of things. This is going to have caught dirt from use. So it will come in a bit further in, and I'll work on a panel at a time. I'm just trying to get those out of the way. Not easy having all your thumbs in the right place at the same time. All of them, I'd like to say. I don't have all. I'm not an octopus. An octopus! Don't even look like an octopus. Don't worry if you think you've gone a bit heavy-handed on bits, because it dries, remember that, and it will always dry a lot lighter than you expect it to. So it's absolutely fine. It will probably look better dry than it does when you're applying it. You'll always think, oh, I've done too much there. Your fingers will be stained for life, though. That's part and parcel of it. So I've forgotten that I haven't taken the, well, kind of not forgotten, but I realised that I haven't taken my divots out, so I'm going to do that now. Right, I'm going to use this one. So if you want to make sure it goes in the middle, you do that. I'm quite happy with the randomness of it. Oh, that's kind of flicked at me. And if you want to just make sure that it goes in the same place, like not the same place but the same depth, you can kind of just put it on, kind of balance it in place, roughly where you're going to do it, and then you could glue it down, but I don't worry too much about it. You can always just fiddle with it until you get it in the right place again. It's about there. Let's just need it out of the way. About there. Okay, cool. So we're going to emphasize that thumb notch with our colour. Again, do this side. And if you kind of catch it, like I've just done, I've just squashed a bit of it in much further up than I was anticipating. Don't worry about it. Remember, it's all going to look beautiful, and it just emphasizes the natural wear and tear. I've genuinely had people say to me, wow, where did you get that old box from? And people are a bit surprised that I've made it, and it's not real, but that's a compliment, isn't it? So just having a look, see if it's kind of a bit balanced. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, because remember, things don't wear the same both sides. Okay, we've done that bit, done that bit more on that panel, a little bit more around the bit softer around the bottom, because it'll have been, well, not bottom, the lid, because dust will have been falling onto it and then get brushed off, whereas it doesn't tend to get brushed off the sides. So it's kind of always feels a bit softer on the top. Also, the top is more prone to getting sun bleached. So although it ages, it gets bleached as well. So there we go, that's the lid. So again, I'm just going to let that one dry a little, and then we'll come back to this. So this is definitely softened down more now. Okay, if you don't want to go as heavy, or you don't even want to colour it, absolutely fine. You don't have to. It's not a principal part of it. So what I am going to do is rub the base bit out. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to fold these up, and then this is going to glue on here. So when you're making a box, you want to see the corner. So this is the corner. So you see how we kind of bled in a little bit, so we didn't get that white bit. I think I need a little bit more, not white bit, I mean like the uncoloured bit. Need a little bit more on those panels. So when you bring it up, what you want to do is you want to still be able to see the corner. So you want a soft corner, and by a soft corner you should be able to roll your finger around it and it feels soft. If it's a little bit, if this panel hangs over the edge, you'll feel it pull on your finger, and you'll feel it make a dragging sound. So what you want to make sure that it doesn't have that sensation, and that's how you know you've made the perfect corner. So we're just going to put glue. So when you're putting your glue on, you want to make sure that you get it up to that edge, not too close to the edge though, because remember it's going to squeeze out a little bit, and we don't want it to kind of squeeze out over everything we've just done. And do one corner at a time. Now, best thing to do is to go too far over and drag it back into place, then start too much this way. I'll show you on the next one. Again, you just want to make sure they're nice and level. It's nice and level on that edge there as well, and that'll make sure that this gives you a nice level edge. We're going to pinch that together. So by dragging, I mean tuck it in too far so that it hangs out like this, and then drag it back into place, and that way then all the glue that squeezes into the inside of the box. If you put it on like this and then push it that way, you have the chance of beading glue on the very edge of very edge of here. So again, just put some glue on there, a little bit on the edge of there. So took it too far in first, and then drag it right back into place. There you go. Bit of glue on that edge. There we go. And do the same on the other side. Too far over, slide it into place. And once you get used to it, you'll get used to making boxes, and you'll know where the panel should sit. Too far over, and then slide it into place. There we go. So that's the base, and I can just press it into place. If you've got some pegs, just peg them and just make sure that it kind of grabs nicely. And then we're going to do exactly the same on this. Again, we're going to rub the lid bit out. And we're going to do the same on this. So I'm just going to check that when those two together, we won't see any. You see how here you can see a slight lighter line? That's what I mean by just make sure you come in nicely on that edge, and that way then you won't see that at all. So now when you put it together, even if it's a little bit out, you won't see it as much. So, okay. So if you have, like here, I've got a slight overhang here, you just want to snip that just a fraction off. You don't want to completely chop it right back, but just so that it doesn't hang over. There we go. That side seems to be all right. So again, up to the edge. Set it too far over and then slide it into place. You just need to be quick on that, because if you're using a fast drying glue like I am, I'm using Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. I will just say one fast drying glue. This is going to sound very, I'm probably going to get thrown out of the craft community for saying this, but one fast drying craft glue is very much the same as another. I've tried all sorts of different things and I haven't really noticed any major difference on the grab of such things. I'm sure, like, I will just say, Barely Art though does seem to perform much better in our climate than Art Glitter Glue, because I know Art Glitter Glue is very popular, especially in the States. It's very expensive here, but also it doesn't seem to like our climate, which is kind of very wet and cold. So do have a slight overhang there. I'm just going to snip that off. Should have done that before I put it together. No, there you go, it came apart anyway. Put some more glue on there because it's come apart. Put it into place. And then do the same on this side. Last panel. Oh, don't get it on the outside, Dave. Bit too far over, push it into place. There we go. So that's the lid. Is that the lid? I think that's the lid. So, look, these should now go together and they should fit like a little glove, which they do. And that's because we cut, remember, you're going to cut the two, whatever the size of the box is, you're going to cut it 1/8 of an inch larger for the lid. But then, if you're doing that, don't then put it onto a box base, box lid scoreboard, because then you'll have too much allowance and they'll just fall out of each other, they'll just drop out. But that sits perfectly in there now. Okay, so we've made it look quite dark and grungy. You can soften this edge now. So we're just going to go for a bit of burlap and I just soften all of this down a little bit. If you think you've gone a bit heavy-handed like I have here. course, what you can do, so one of the things you should do is just put some colour on that bit there. So when you take it apart, you'll see that it's actually there. If you take this apart now, you can see there. Yeah. Don't press too hard. Remember, it will kind of fade back anyway. And then what we'll do is we will put some labels on there. So what I will do is got a couple of labels. I've got a table full of labels. No, it doesn't rhyme, Dave. A table of label. See, if it was what a singular, it'd be all right. Let's get a nice piece of paper, which is suitably grungy like this. So this is a piece of watercolour paper. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Do I want to use that bit though? Or shall I use it in something else? Yes, let's use this bit, which is perfectly mottly for the kind of thing that we want to do. This is still from Monday's make. So probably a bit dirty, so it might not actually stick to the thing, but we will stick a couple of labels on. So what colour should we use? Maybe a red. Definitely use a red. And what other colour? Green is usually my go-to, but I'm going to try and stay away from the green. I've got brown. It's not very exciting though, is it? Purple. Maybe green. Sorry, maybe red and purple. Let's just put those over there for a second. So we'll do a red frame on this one. And we're going to do it on here. So I'm going to give it a chance for the ink to soak in a bit because it's a watercolour. There you go, cool. I'll take that off. Got another one here, which I might do in purple actually. Just have to be kind of deliberate and not smudge it. Let's put the right lids back on things. And add another one, didn't I? This little one here. So maybe this. No, maybe up that way. Put that on. And then I might go for, oh, let's go for this burgundy colour. These are just to give it a bit. Well, there's not really that much difference between the burgundy. In fact, I'm not sure I like the purple as much, but it's fine. There's not that much difference between the two. Might just want to wipe that off. Couldn't find anything else to wipe it off on. I'll just wipe it off on my hand then. Dave, there you go. Uncouth that you are. What else have we got here? Maybe this one. Do have a kind of a yellowy one, but I don't know where it is. No idea. Not a clue. Blind Bambi. Oh, it's there. There you go, pop it on there. Cool. So then what we'll do is we'll get a bit of a giant number going. Is that going to fit in there? Yes, I'm sure it'll do. Let's just change these numbers. I think I've used them quite recently in something. For some reason, why do we always get drawn to our odd numbers. It's very bizarre. So I'm going to go with, I don't think orange is really it's not our jam today. Let's just make a mess. Maybe go with this one. So we're going to go with the bigger side of the numbers here. Pop that in there. Hopefully I can get it to fit. Might be a bit wonky. We don't mind a wonky number though, do we? That's fine. We will have, it's going to be a lot smaller to go in those, isn't it? So let's see if I've got something. What does this say? Can't remember what this does. Oh, I think it makes a... not going to fit in there, is it? Nope. Nope. Let's not try that one then. Let's try this. Let's change the date on it because I did do it the other day and it said 37. I was like, the 37th of July. That's that popular date. No, stop doing 37, Dave. There we go. 17th of July. And we'll put faxed. I don't think that's... I can't even read what that might say. Oh, that's a year. We'll put paid. That put paid to that, doesn't it? He says, thinking he's funny. The problem, he thinks he's funny. Maybe we need to take the number off the beginning of that. I don't think there's big enough room in there. Let's go in there. So it now just says, should say 7th. Oh no, completely smashed that, didn't I? Squished it to smithereens. Let's go in there then. Don't press it down too hard then, Dave. Or let's go completely in the middle and like don't press it hard enough. Let's try that again then. Which one did I use? That one. Oh, I knew that would happen. They're so dirty they don't actually cling anymore. Cool, that's that. Try again. Don't press too hard, don't press too lightly. Oh, it said, what's the name? Thingy syndrome. Goldilocks syndrome. Oh, it's fine. It's fine, it'll do. So that one can come out. That one can come out as well. And then we will have something in there, but I don't know what yet. What else have we got? What we got here? What we got here? Oh, we've got a nice random number on there. Like a random number. What's on there? Oh, more random numbers. This is what you get for looking after your stamps, Dave. I'll use this green. We'll do, I'll put it at that end. Sorry if my head's in the way. Oh, lovely. That is lovely. Right, let's put that over there. Oh, let's get this. And then we've got the same, we've got it, this one says number. Will I get that in there? No, I won't. But I can't get the number part of it. Will I get number? And we'll have a signature on the end, I think. So I'll do that. Pop that. Is that going to be the right way up? Yeah, I think so. Oh, like it was meant to be. Oh, I put that back up there. And we wanted a signature, didn't we? So let me get. I prefer blue on things like this, but you do you. I prefer blue, but you do you. Yeah, so Dave, that rhymes. There you go. Don't know what it says. Doesn't. We don't have to know, do we? Pop that out of the way. So now let's cut these down. So I like to cut them with a slight clear edge. Clear, by clear I don't mean transparent, I mean clear of the line. So there's a slight, I was going to say white, but it's not white. Border, that's what I meant. Like that. Now when I say that, that doesn't mean to say it will happen, but I like to. So if I say it, you'll know that if it doesn't happen, I meant to do it, but I've got it wrong. So you are privy to my mistakes. Sorry, concentrating, have tongue out. Do that one as well. That's got a slight bleed to it on that line, but never mind. All the way to the end. Oh, you see, look, there you go. Didn't leave a line there, but that's fine. Cool. All right, now give this a bit of an edge. Don't need to put any colour on this at all. It's got plenty of colour on it. There we go. Same with that one. And this one. So this one, all of these actually, I'm just kind of going a bit heavy-handed, so it kind of gets a bit of colour on the rest of the label. Just put a bit of that on there as well. Cool, that's great. So let's put these on. So we're going to put, I don't know, put it kind of hanging over the edge, I think. And because it's hanging over the edge, it is going to have a bit of colour on that bit. Yeah, that's going to go on there, maybe up there. Stick it down. Might just curl that end up a bit. As we've curled it up, we're going to colour it a little bit. There we go. This one is going to be not on there because it's way too big for there. We're going to put that maybe like that. Yeah, we'll put it like that. Again, this can have a little bit of a tear in it. And we'll just ink that tear to emphasise the colour. Emphasise the separation of the two bits of paper, that's what we're trying to do. There we go. We're going to put that in there. I'll stick most of it down. All I haven't done is I haven't completely, well, I haven't glued this bit at all, so I'm going to just curl it up. Just colour it actually before I do any of that. And then I'm going to glue it so that it's glued into kind of a curl. Like that. And then we'll have that maybe on the end of there. Yeah. Ever so slightly off being straight so that it looks more authentic, and I might put a little bit of sellotape on it. So what colour should we go for? We'll go for something quite yellow, well, kind of a yellowy brown colour. Don't have anything to cut it with. Of course I don't. Oh, scissors there. So I picked this piece because this has kind of got this skinny bit on it, which I thought I could utilise. There. I don't know whether I think it's going to stick, and I think it's going to be fine. But if not, I will glue it with a bit of glue. I might need a bit of glue on that edge to make it go around that corner. Pop a little bit on there. Just trying to hold itself down. Okay, so now I've done that, I forgot to put that back in the water. So now I've put that on, I'm just going to put, just like I did when I made the accordion spine folio, I'm going to put a little bit of this with a very hard brush, because somebody forgot to put it in water. I'm going to put that on here. I don't think I can actually use a hard brush, so I'm going to have to sacrifice another brush. Good job these are cheap. I don't buy expensive brushes for this very reason, because it requires having a memory, and I'm not that person. So I'm going to put that on there, and again we're just making it look like aged tape, you know, it loses its shine. And with this bit here, just all of the tape that I use on stuff like this, I just take certainly have recently started taking the shine off it with just a bit of matte medium. Just makes it feel a little bit more, it's weird when you say a bit more authentic and you know that you've actually made it look, you've applied something to it, so it's clearly not authentic, but authentic from a time point of view. Because that's one of the things that happens with sellotape or sticky tape or whatever you choose to call it, tape, is it does tend to lose its shine as well as going a bit yellow. There we go. Cool. Please put that in some water, Dave. And put the lid back on there so that doesn't dry out. So there we go. That is another little box. So let's just put all of these together so that I can find colours next time. Okay, let's put the, where did that go? There. The end of that back in there. Those in there. Let's put the lid on that. All the thing in the end. Put them up there. That out of the way. That can go in there. That can go in there. That can go in the bin because it's rock hard. That can be put in some water. Leave that here, that and there, that and that. Right, okay, there we go. So we have made a nice little box that I think, again, goes nicely with that whole kind of utilitarian look. So there we go. So, like I say, just opens nicely, just slots inside each other. And there we go. Hope you like that. So another one of my Sensational Six, and we'll come up with another one for next time. Got a few ideas about, there's about 12 on my list, so it's really hard narrowing it down to 6, but these two, so the accordion folio and this Dennison box, were strong contenders all the way through. I knew that I wanted to do these. So anyway, that's my recreation of some packing boxes. Well, little officey kind of boxes, probably would have had your stationery in or something. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Dash of Dave, and I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. Make sure that you subscribe if you aren't already. Make sure you give this a like. Make sure you share it with your friends. Comment if you wish, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care. Lots of love. Lots of hugs. I'm going to go and wash my hands, strangely. Bye.